If you already have an online business or you're planning to start one in the new year, the absolute best free or nearly free organic way to build an audience of ideal customers is through content creation. But which platform should you choose? Should you start a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, all three? Let's find out. I'm Rachel Harrison-Sund, and I help online entrepreneurs make more money so they can live more life. If you are an aspiring online entrepreneur and you feel like you could use a little bit of a helping hand mapping out your first steps, download my free guide, the 4-step no time to waste online business startup blueprint, down in that description below. This guide takes you through all of the steps of starting an online knowledge-based business, from idea generation all the way through to creating an offer and marketing it to your audience, so do check that out. There are pros and cons involved in starting a blog, a podcast, or a YouTube channel. So let's go through the pros and cons of each, and then we'll talk about who I think each platform makes the most sense for. So let's talk about blogs first. So getting started with a blog is really easy, and really the only equipment that you need is a computer. It's also practically free outside of web hosting, which you can usually get for as cheap as like $6 or $10 a month. So the big pros here are that it's definitely the easiest platform to get started with, as well as the cheapest. But there are some cons. So firstly, blogs can take a long time to gain traction. Lots of bloggers can write for years before their blogs actually catch on and become successful, unless they're really niche down and have a good handle on SEO. And SEO is something you're going to need to learn so that your posts are discoverable on Google. Now, unless of course you have the resources to pay someone else to conduct your SEO research for each post, in that case, it really doesn't matter. Now, another con is that depending on your niche, it can be really, really hard to stand out against the competition. So as of 2022, there are over 600 million blogs that exist out there. So again, if you want to start a blog, you're really going to need to niche down as much as possible and stay on top of your SEO game in order to be discoverable. Now, moving on to podcasts. Now, the main piece of equipment you're going to need here is a high quality microphone. Now, this really doesn't have to break the bank. You can start out with something like a Yeti Nano, which was my very first microphone. This is about $100. So with this option, the mic just sits on your desk in front of you. You don't need a boom arm or anything like that, so pretty simple. You're also going to need recording software, but there are a couple of great free options like GarageBand and Audacity out there. You're also going to need software for conducting remote interviews if you are going to conduct remote interviews, but you can use Zoom for that. A couple other options out there as well. Squadcast, I think, is one of them. I think that's about $10 a month. Now, in the pros column, podcasts are great because they require minimal physical equipment. Like, it really just is the microphone. And podcast episodes may actually be even easier to create than blog posts if you are more of a talker than a writer. There's also a lot less competition with podcasts as opposed to blogs and YouTube. So while there are over 600 million blogs, there's only somewhere between 2.4 and 4 million podcasts, depending on which statistics you're looking at. Another huge pro for podcasts is retention. And this is probably due to the fact that podcasts are so portable and, people can listen to them while they're doing other things like driving or working out or taking a walk, or cleaning the house. And then when someone listens to a podcast, usually they end up listening to the entire thing. Now, for cons, podcasts can also be really difficult to gain traction with if you're starting from scratch with absolutely no audience. Unlike blog posts and YouTube videos, which can be found more easily through search engines, you're likely going to need to embark on more of a grassroots relationship building and promotion effort to get the word out about your podcast. Of course, if you already do have a budding email list or a social media following, you already have a listenership at the ready, and you're probably going to gain traction faster than someone with no audience or no social media followers at all. Now, another con is that podcasts aren't as easily monetized. So with YouTube channels, you can make money through AdSense once you've reached 1,000 subscribers and have generated 4,000 hours of watch time. But with podcasts, you're reliant on sponsors, and many sponsors pay based on the number of downloads a podcast has, often a minimum of like 1,000 downloads. Now, having said that, affiliate partnerships where you promote a company's products and receive a commission based on sales can be an option. Finally, let's talk about YouTube, which, if you haven't already guessed, is my content creation platform of choice. But before we do, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like so that it gets pushed out to even more people who might also enjoy it. And go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video every Monday. Now, as far as required YouTube equipment goes, you're going to need a mic, a camera, some editing software. But don't be fooled into thinking you need to get fancy right off the bat. When I first started, I simply plunked my laptop right down in front of a window for some decent light, and then I used my laptop's inbuilt camera and microphone. I didn't actually spend a dime, and it was like months before I bought this Yeti Nano. And it was probably another few months, maybe even a year before I bought my first ring light. And it's only now 3 years into my YouTube channel that I have actually splashed out and purchased a DSLR camera. Even if you don't even have a computer, you can literally start a channel right now with just your phone. For YouTube pros, there are quite a few. So firstly, YouTube's a search engine, meaning your videos are much more discoverable than if they were podcasts. So when someone types something into YouTube's search bar, your video has a chance of popping up in the search results if it's related to what the person has typed. And the more people that watch your video, the more YouTube is going to serve up your video to even more viewers, which is another huge bonus. Content on YouTube also has a really long shelf life. I have videos that are at least 3 years old, and they're still getting hundreds, if not thousands, of views regularly. And when a person watches my videos, YouTube is going to push my related videos into their suggestions, increasing the odds that that person is going to watch even more of my videos. Also, YouTube is the easiest platform to monetize, so it can quickly become an additional stream of revenue once you've surpassed that 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. Another pro is that your viewers are going to feel like they know you better personally, just a little bit more, because they're actually seeing your face and hearing your voice rather than just reading words that you've written out or, just hearing your voice on its own as with a podcast. It's also the easiest platform to repurpose your content. So for each long form video that you can create, you can extract the audio and publish it as a podcast. You can chop up the video and use it as Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, and you can even use the transcription as the basis for a blog post. Now for cons, the big one here is that YouTube is definitely the most work. So you need to write scripts, record the videos, edit the videos, create the thumbnails, answer comments. It's also more competitive than podcasts. So over 100 million YouTube channels exist compared to podcasts between 2 and 4 million. Also, retention isn't nearly as good as with podcasts. So while most people are listening to podcasts all the way through, if a person watches about 50% of your YouTube video, you're actually doing pretty well. So which platform is right for you? Blogs are best for those who have niched down quite far, have a good handle on SEO, or have the resources to hire someone who does, and who has an audience who reads blogs. Podcasts are great if you have less time for content creation than a YouTube channel requires, and also if you already have an audience built up from a pre-existing blog or social media following, or if you're someone who just really doesn't want to be on camera. But I do want to point out here that most people are quite uncomfortable on camera to begin with, so don't let that be a fear that holds you back. YouTube is going to be best for you if you're starting from scratch with absolutely zero audience. You want to grow your audience more quickly. You want your audience to feel more personally connected to you through seeing your face and hearing your voice. If your content would benefit from the visual aid that video provides, or you want to be able to repurpose your content across multiple platforms, or if you want to build another sustainable source of revenue. Finally, you can ask yourself these questions. What are your strengths and what do you actually want to be doing? You're going to need to commit to your choice if you want to see results, so be sure it's something that you know you're going to enjoy over the long term. So if you hate making videos, you're really not going to be able to stick with a YouTube channel for very long. If you hate writing, you're not going to be able to stick with a blog and so forth. Next, where are your ideal customers? You want to be where they are. So if your ideal customers don't read blogs, a blog isn't going to get you very far. But if they consume a lot of YouTube content, then you want to be there. If they listen to a lot of podcasts, then you want to be there. Finally, what medium best lends itself to your content? So for example, I offer a lot of tutorials on this channel, so it's really important for me to use a visual medium to get my content across. People actually need to be able to see it. Another word of advice, don't try to do all 3 at once, or even 2 at once. This is a recipe for burnout, and you're probably going to spread yourself so thin, you're likely not going to be able to gain traction on any of the platforms. So start with one, get it going, get it successful. And once you've got it going, you've got it successful, then if it really does make sense for your business to add another platform, do that. And do keep in mind that YouTube really is the best platform to get started out with if you do want to repurpose that content for other platforms like blog or podcasts or social media. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you're an aspiring online entrepreneur and you feel like you could use a little help mapping out your first steps, download my free guide, The 4-Step No Time to Waste Online Business Startup Blueprint, down in the description below. You're also invited to join my free Facebook group, Rachel's Sandbox, also linked to down below. If after watching this video you think a YouTube channel might be the best bet for you, but you're feeling a little bit apprehensive about it, watch this video next to find out how to get over the fear of starting a YouTube channel. And if you liked this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, share it with anyone you think might find it useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.